Namo Buddhaya, Namaste. I have some questions by email. If you want to send questions by email, this email address is in the About section, where my description can be found of this channel. Or you can leave questions in the comments below. So this question is from excuse me, this question is from D in the UK, which happens also to be who I used to be, D from the UK. Actually, I'm still D, Bhante Dhammarakkhita, D from the UK. But this is from another D in the UK, who asks 3 questions, maybe 4. We'll deal with them one by one. Can you please talk about diet? Amounts of food needed to keep a spiritual and strong mind. Okay, no special diet required, other than, I think, for anybody, you should eat healthily and regularly, as and when your body requires sustenance. If you have a very energetic job and existence, you're going to want to have 3 regular meals per day, no doubt about it. A good breakfast, some lunch, and an evening meal, but not too late in the evening. Now, the monk's life, the spiritual life, it's different. We practice renunciation, and part of this, and one of the largest aspects of this, is of course we only eat 1 meal a day, and this is before noon. This isn't very practical for people in lay life, because if you are working hard, you will need some more food in the afternoon. But look, the primary thing about food is to not get het up on it. You know what your body needs. You know what is healthy and what is unhealthy. So we just use common sense. If you eat ice cream, cake, I don't know, fast food, this kind of thing, and sweets all day long, you know it's not doing you any good. You know, who doesn't know that? If you eat some salads and some whole grains and some vegetables and this and that, you know it's doing you good, but it's perhaps not going to make you very enthusiastic about life in general. So it's a balance, like everything in Buddhism. It's the middle way. It's a balance. In England, we have this sort of old tradition of meat and 2 veg, because they're not generally vegetarians there. We are not generally vegetarians there. So they'll have some meat and 2 kinds of vegetables, one being a sort of a sustenance vegetable like potatoes. In India it's rice and then vegetable curries and this, that and that. All of the different countries have different diets, owing to their locality. It's geographical. But one must be careful. If you're in India, there's a tendency for people to eat and overindulge in a lot of just white rice and breads and this kind of thing, and then snack on very snacky, spicy, tasty, salty, chili, tasty foods. Now, this isn't providing you the vegetable content you need. It should be a mixture of rice and vegetables, rice and dal, this kind of thing. Or in European countries, vegetables and potatoes and vegetables or pasta. So it's nothing complicated. A good question, but you know the answer. I'm sure that, D from UK. The next question is sleep. How much do you sleep? And I have started sleeping on the floor. Is this recommended? Okay, well, yes, I sleep on the floor. Monks don't have to sleep on the floor, but they shouldn't sleep on a luxurious bed. And the specifics are a bed higher than a certain level and no soft, comfortable mattresses. Actually, this is a practicality. We try to sleep not too much, which is the first part of the question. How much do I sleep? I probably don't sleep more than 4 to maximum 6 hours per night, but then I might have a nap, a sleep in the afternoon. Actually, not very often these days, but if I can, it's nice to have a little rest in the afternoon of, say, half an hour to 50 minutes or of an hour maximum, just to rejuvenate. But our overall aim, getting back to diet, is to eat little, sleep little, and talk little. That's the hard one, the third one. The diet, sleeping for me is not too much problem. So if we oversleep, we actually don't feel very awake. We get lethargy, we feel lethargic and less enthusiastic. We need to, again, find the balance that suits our bodies, our minds, ourselves, because you shouldn't deprive yourself of sleep either. If you're a meditator practicing meditation, you need to be awake. The point of Buddhism, the point of the Buddha's teaching is awakening. Buddha means awake. So if you're tired because you've had not enough sleep, this is completely going against what you're trying to achieve. So you should get enough sleep. This is the important thing, enough, but just enough, not too much. So like with food, just enough food, not too much. With sleep, just enough sleep, not too much. And the next question, again from D in the UK. Oh yes, and lying on the floor, well, sorry, going back. Yeah, I mean, I've been sleeping on the floor now for more than 8 years. I remember the last mattress bed, and I gave it was fairly new, so I gave it away to a friend. And I've been sleeping literally on the floor ever since, any floor, wherever I am. Even if there's a bed in the room, I still sleep on the floor, because it took a little getting used to, yes. I had to when I was staying in Thailand, there was no choice. So I got used to it before I went to Thailand. I got used to a lot of things before I went to Thailand to make it easier for my meditation when I got to Thailand. And one of them was this. Now, since I've been sleeping on the floor, I have slept better. Not for so long, but you sleep better. You sleep more deeply for that short amount of time, 4 hours to 6 hours maximum, because you really need the sleep. And I think you're less fidgety, because it's harder to roll around, move around in your sleep. Maybe, maybe not, but I think that's restrictive. So you can kind of sleep as the Buddha suggested, which is perhaps a little extreme, but in just sort of one position without moving. Of course, when we're asleep, we don't know what we're doing, so mind or body, we're asleep. But in sleep, you are restoring physically and mentally your well-being, so it is important. So if you can do it, yes, it's a great thing to do, to sleep on the floor. And since sleeping on the floor, I have never had back problems. I have had a little bit of a problem in my neck, which was as a result of a bit of an injury as opposed to anything else. And even that is alleviated to some extent by my sleeping on the floor. Back problems, which I did have before sleeping on the floor, I haven't had since. So yeah, a hard floor. You just need a rattan mat or even just a cloth piece of sheet folded in two. Most often I'm sleeping outside and I'm using my outer robe, Sangati, folded in two. So it's a double thickness robe, then it's almost 4 layers of only this thin cotton. I'm laying on that just to keep the chill off and some of the insects at bay. And that's the floor, the ground that I'm sleeping on. You can sleep in airports like this, you can sleep in railway stations, anywhere you like really. Nothing's going to stop you sleeping, so you don't need to check into a hotel before a flight. There's plenty of space in an airport, in various corners, under stairs. You can just rest there, no problem at all. So yes, good idea if you can learn to sleep on the floor. D from UK, please carry on with that practice. It's very good for the mind, very good for the soul. And your your last question, is it one question? Yeah. Also, desire. In a world of hypersexual behavior, how do we escape this? controlling desire and unfavorable emotions. Okay. Remembering with all thoughts, desires and unfavorable emotions, our aim is never to try and control anything. We have to accept nothing is within our control, but to note and realize these things arise, stay and pass away, and then observe our reactions to them. Now, with regards to, let's say, a world of, your word, I think, hypersexuality. This is not a new thing. You know, this whole sexuality thing has been going on, if you were a Christian from this faith, since Adam and Eve. If you're a Darwinist, much earlier. Whatever your understanding, it doesn't matter. Forever. The human race is a result of hypersexuality and will continue to be so. So there's nothing wrong with it. Now, in terms of our perception and our desires and our seemingly lack of control of our desires towards sexual behavior, then really there's only really one recommendation, and that is to direct your attention elsewhere. You see, we have, as far as this subject's concerned, hypersexuality in the world, we have really only two sense doors, seeing and hearing, that are going to really bring that in and therefore provoke us in that direction. So if we're looking at sexually provocative material or scantily dressed, or whatever your preference, overly dressed, I don't know, ladies or men, whatever it is that excites you in that way, then you're going to be provoking these desires. So the answer is, don't look at those things, just that. And listening to lurid talk or reading erotic material, don't do that. It is unnecessary. As ordinary people, not leading the celibate monks' lives, you have ordinary, healthy sexual relationships, and hopefully these remain that way with respect to each other, and that's all fine. But as far as the overabundance of sexually orientated material promotion and its proliferation throughout media, on the internet, in movies, well, in movies for a long time, there are very few movies without those specific scenes that you didn't want to watch in front of your mother and father, and they in front of their children, that you had to sort of sneak out of the room to make a cup of tea when those bits were coming up, or whatever. They've always been around. It's nothing new. It's just that it's in your face and everywhere, and to some extent that has perhaps numbed people's reactions to them, maybe. But it isn't something you can control, but what you can control is what you see and what you hear. Our senses of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and to some extent what we think about are within our control. It's how we react that has to be monitored and then directed rather than controlled. So in summary, eat, for the first question, what your body needs, and eat sensibly, just enough, not too much. Sleep, just enough, not too much. If you can sleep on the floor, yes, that's good. A world of hypersexuality, you don't have to be a part of it. It's your choice. You can look, or you can look at something more wholesome. Look at some nature, flowers, trees. Read a nice book about something else. Science fiction is good. I hope that answers your questions, and thank you for your good questions, Dee from UK. Namo Buddhaya.